Just hit the subscribe button, the red button, underneath this video over to the right, and that'll sign you up on my YouTube channel. And then you can hit the small bell icon, so a little bell will go off and tell you each time I've started to broadcast a new one. I hope you enjoy it. People often misunderstand how parties come to their political conclusions. They still think there are some leaders in the back room who pull the puppet strings and manipulate their parties, or some committees that make decisions, and based on that, the party positions itself. That's not how it happens. It happens from the bottom up. The electorate, the Democratic Party electorate, changes its mind, or the Republican one does, and that changes the party's positioning, because the party's candidates are all determined by primaries, and the voters directly control that. And in the last couple of years, more and more moderate Democrats have lost their primaries to leftists, culminating in 2018 when a slew of them did. And they get the message that the Democratic voters want more liberal candidates. So they scurry to the left, their positions move to the left, and the party becomes decidedly further left. And that's exactly what's happening now. According to a Pew Research study, the percentage of Democrats and Democratic-leaning voters who self-identify as liberal has risen from 23% to 48% over the course of the last 2 years. And the percentage that self-identify as moderates is now down to 36%. These changes have taken place, this radicalization of the Democratic Party base, perhaps encouraged by Obama's increasingly overt socialism and by antipathy to Trump and a reaction against him that takes the form of moving further to the left. I've indicated in previous videos my central theme as we approach the 2020 election, which is that liberal parties move leftward when they lose an election. When Carter lost to Reagan, the Democrats proceeded to nominate Mondale and then Dukakis, incredibly to the left, before 12 years later they got sanity and came back to Clinton. And in Britain, when Thatcher defeated Callaghan, the Labour Party nominated Callaghan again, and then Foot, and then Kinnock, increasingly crazy to the left, before they came back to the center and nominated Tony Blair. And that phenomenon is going on right now in the Democratic electorate. It's the result of the radicalization of the Democrats and the liberalization, but more importantly, to the defection from the Democratic primary of the moderates. A self-reinforcing trend sets in. With the more liberal the Democratic electorate gets, the more the moderates drop out and become independents, or some even become Republican. But the point is, the electorate of the Democratic Party, on which it predicates its positioning, moves irretrievably to the left until disaster strikes. Then it keeps moving left until another disaster strikes, and then finally it gets sense and moves to the center 10 years hence. And I think that's the trajectory we're on. And all of the evidence that I've seen confirms this. The success in winning Democratic hearts and minds of Beto O'Rourke in Texas, of Ocasio-Cortez in New York, all over the country, the election of damn near Taliban members, certainly Muslim extremists, to the U.S. Congress from Michigan, all indicates this leftward trend. And I think by 2020, a majority of the American people will probably want to get rid of Donald Trump, but a large number of them are going to say, I'm never going to vote Democrat because these guys are just completely gone off the deep end. And I think that's the phenomenon that will dominate us in the 2020 election. I've just written a new book, 50 Shades of Politics, which is unlike anything I've written before. It's a series of 100 short, 2 pages each, autobiographic essays and stories and vignettes and tales from my career in politics, my time with Clinton, my work in 40 countries around the world and in every state in the country. You can't buy it in bookstores, but you can online at Amazon.com. It's not a heavy lift. It's $13.99 for a paperback and $10.99 for a Kindle. Thanks for watching.